So if we go on with this, the next step is to unscramble some words. And I'm sure you are familiar with the idea of unscrambling words. There's a puzzle that's in the paper a lot, jumble. And they'll give 5-letter words and 6-letter words, and sometimes they're kind of challenging. And I happen to know that this particular word only has one way of being unscrambled in English. And I'll let you know what that is later if you haven't gotten it already. But 5-letter words, a lot of people are pretty good at this, and they can just sort of like jumble them around in their head and figure it out. So we'll look at that one a little bit later. But for the time being, let's look at the next one. So here's one that's only 4 letters. Do you think you can get that one? That only has one solution as well. And I'll let you know what that is later as well. How about this one? 3 letters. Have you got that one? How about this one? 3 more letters. This one. Here are 3 words that have 3 letters, and they're pretty easy to figure out. I'm sure you've figured out by now that this is fox, and this is cow, and this is jar. So now what we're going to do is take some triads and unscramble them the same way. The reason that those words were easy to unscramble is because you're already familiar with the word cow and the word fox and the word jar. And you need to already be familiar with these 3-letter combinations that give all of the triads in the world. Okay, so you need to know those. And I will now give you some unscrambled triads, and we can unscramble them. So if you know DBF is an example of BDF, then you can do it right away. The way to know that is to be familiar with BDF and to understand that that is a combination of 3 letters that you need to know. What is GEC? Well, that's just a scrambling of CEG, so we can put that in this category. So notice that I'm ignoring the accidentals for the purposes of getting this triad in order. If we unscramble it, we can very easily, if we know CEG, we can say C sharp, E sharp, G sharp is the unscrambled version of that triad. What about D flat, G flat, B flat? That's an example of GBD. Okay, DFA is FDA. All right, so we can put that in this category. ECA, that's just ACE. Notice I'm ignoring the accidentals when it comes to just unscrambling. GEB, that's EGB. FAC, there it is. CEG. GBD. ADF is DFA. This is another scrambling of ACE. BEG is EGB. BDF. And lastly, ACF is FAC. So we had 2 of each, and they're unscrambled. Good thing to know about this is that I'm assuming that these are being spelled upwards, and so we could say that BGD would be a first inversion triad because B, third of the chord, would be the lowest note. So if we read them all this way, bottom to top, then this would be a second inversion chord with the D in the bass. Here we have FAC, C's in the bass, so it's a second inversion triad. ACF, if it's spelled upwards, A is the third of the triad. If it's in the bass, that makes it a first inversion triad. So whereas the ones I put on the staves are all root position, it should be pretty easy not only to unscramble the triads, but by knowing those 3-letter combinations of the root position triads, be able to say instantly what kind of inversion it is.